Hey, I'm Daniel Rondberg, and in this video, I'm going to break down some retirement basics so that you can have clarity in your decision-making process when talking about how to set up your retirement effectively. Here's something that happens to me all the time. I get calls from people, I meet with people, and they don't have a clear direction on what they're doing. They don't have a cohesive strategy. They're not making all their decisions to line up in a systematic way to reach a specific outcome. Very common. People do it in all phases of their life, but especially with their retirement and their finances. In fact, it's very rare. I don't know maybe if I've ever even met someone that had a step-by-step systematic process to make every single decision align with their overall goal and target and objective in the future. It's very rare. So people are constantly coming to me saying, hey, I have this money in the bank. Hey, I have this annuity. Hey, I have this or that. I have this scenario or this situation. What do I do? And they're just looking for guidance. They're just looking for help. They want to make the right decision. They want to maximize what they've saved. They just don't know where to go. In addition to that, I was scrolling through YouTube. I was scrolling through Twitter. I was scrolling through LinkedIn. And I was just kind of looking around to get some ideas and inspiration and preparation for this video. And I have to tell you, it was absolutely exhausting. Within a matter of minutes, I was overwhelmed. I was seeing all of these different things, thumbnails and clickbait, people trying to say this is right or this is wrong, extreme scenarios. I can't imagine how people who aren't in insurance or finance even look at this stuff and don't just get absolutely overwhelmed themselves. I did in just a matter of a short few minutes. So I want to go through some retirement basics because I think if you can answer some of these key questions for yourself and really outline some of these basic things that you need to be able to have clarity, you can make better decisions on what you're doing. Number one, that's really important is, what is your risk capacity? What kind of capacity do you have to handle risk? A lot of people that I meet say, oh, I'm moderate to conservative. And then I look at what they have and they're not that at all. Or they're taking a lot of risk and they really are not comfortable with that. One thing that makes me sad that I hear people say all the time is they say, well, I guess if I lost this, I'll never be able to retire. Or I'll have to work for 10 more years. Why? Why does that have to be the case? Why not make a change proactively so that that doesn't happen? That's an indicator that maybe you're taking on too much risk. There's a lot of different risks to assess. Are you risking too much of your principal? Are you risking too much of putting your money in just one thing? Are you risking too much if you don't have enough proper liquidity? There are so many different key risks to assess. Understanding your capacity to deal with those risks is really, really important. There's so many people that weren't adequately prepared. It ended up costing them big time. And it didn't just cost them money, it cost them time, which I think is much more valuable because the more time you have, the better you can do financially and the more time you have to be able to weather these storms and recover. The next thing I want to talk about is your time horizon. Time horizon is crucial to the success of your retirement income. If you're in your 20s or 30s, there's an argument that you have a much longer time horizon to deal with risk. You have a much longer time horizon to make mistakes. You have a much longer time horizon to change jobs. There's a longer period of time where you can go through different phases of your life and be able to recover and then still continue to build. What's extremely dangerous is people that are pre-retirement that have not accurately aligned what they're doing financially with the appropriate time horizon. And that can be a couple of different things. Sometimes people are not really moving to a safer risk capacity for themselves, and they're really putting their retirement and the success of their retirement income in jeopardy by just taking too many risks. So if you're in your 50s or your 60s and you're getting closer and that time horizon is shrinking to the time when you're going to need that money to live off of, that's going to be really essential for you to measure and make sure you make key adjustments proactively. Because once something bad happens, it's too late. You have to be able to look, stop, and think and go, okay, am I 5 or 10 years out from retirement? And if you are, that's a crucial time to pay attention because if something bad happens there, it could significantly jeopardize the retirement income you're supposed to use. Let me give you an example of that. One of the very first things I ever learned, and I learned this back when I worked for Chase, they said if somebody is going to be purchasing something large, they're going to need their money to purchase a house, a car, to fund college, they're going to need that money soon. You have to keep it liquid and safe because they're going to need it. If you risk it and something wrong happens or bad happens, then they're not going to have the money they need. That's too much risk. You can't do that to somebody. That was one of the very first things I ever learned. So think about your retirement. The closer you get to needing that money, the less risk you can take because you're going to need to be able to have it to be able to spend and support your lifestyle because you're no longer working. Getting really clear, maybe this is an aha moment for someone, maybe this is a high alert moment for someone when they say, whoa, that's me. There's an economist by the name of Tom Hegna who I reference all the time because I think he's arguably one of the most important economists in terms of retirement. But he says that the 10 most dangerous years of your retirement are the 5 years before you retire and the 5 years after, because if you lose a lot of money in that 10-year window, your retirement income plan is going to have to change. That's what he says, and he said for years, and I think it's so insightful because he's right. He's built financial models and the math supports that if you lose money in those early years, the chance of you running out of money is significantly high. That risk is too heavy because you didn't properly look at your time horizon and you didn't make those adjustments to be able to align yourself accordingly. That's really, really crucial. The final thing that I think is a crucial fundamental and very important to pay attention to is making sure you have clear goals, a clear vision for where you're going, and a mission statement for your retirement. I heard somebody say this, a mentor of mine said, what are you going to retire to? The definition of retirement means to be taken out of service. And so a lot of people think, okay, that's the finish line, that's the end of my goals, that's the end of my objections, I've reached everything. What can you do to create a mission statement for your retirement? How can you get really intentional with the time you have left, the money you've accumulated? Can you put the right tools in place to create specific outcomes or protect you from certain risks so that you can free up the rest of your portfolio and the rest of your finances and the rest of your money to be able to be used the way you want to use it? I think creating very intentional buckets is important because you can set up buckets for dealing with long-term care, you can set up buckets to create income, you can set up buckets for wealth transfer. There's a lot of different things that you can be really specific and segment money into. But what that does, if you get intentional, is that allows you to free up potentially excess capital for you to be able to use to enjoy your life and travel and do the things that you want to do to really live out your life's purpose. So having a clear goal, clear vision, a clear mission, just defined objectives is so important. Just taking the time to do that, because that would clue you in on a lot of things that you might be lacking clarity on or looking for on YouTube or scrolling around and trying to find somewhere or asking people. You know what to do because you want to align it with your goals. So to summarize, what I think is really important that are just the key fundamentals that will help you to make better decisions and have clarity on where you're going and what you're doing. You've got to be able to measure your risk capacity and discover how much risk you're taking on. Is it appropriate? Can you handle that risk? Be able to look at your time horizon and tell if your risk is in line with your time horizon, and then taking that time horizon and making sure that's in line with your goals. Is it realistic? And what are those goals? What is your personal life's mission for your retirement? What are you going to do with your time? And how are you going to set up the right tools to be able to accomplish it? I think if you can just do those three things, it'll bring massive clarity. It'll be a great way for you to be able to do the things you actually want to do with the time you have left in your life before you can't do those things. And that's my mission, is to help people to realize those as soon as possible. So take some time from this video, discover what your risk capacity is, and then write down your goals, write down your mission statement, write down a clear vision for what your life looks like and how it feels to be able to do these things the way you want to, and what it feels like to remove financial anxiety by transferring risks away or getting really intentional and bucketing certain money so that it's going to do the right things and the right job when you need it to at the right time. Those are the things that I'm trying to encourage people to do, is just take a look and see what they're doing and become aware of it. And I think that's the first step to being able to have some clarity and take maybe more appropriate actions to secure your retirement. So I hope that was helpful. Please feel free to like the video and give me a thumbs up if you also felt like it was helpful and valuable. Please leave some comments if you want to talk more about these kinds of things and maybe I missed something, you want to add it, or maybe you have questions. I'll be happy to address those. Please think about sharing the video. I'm trying to spread my message and my mission to help serve people and just bring really simple clarity to some of these more complex financial issues and insurance issues. And finally, check out another video that I did on the 6 common mistakes that retirees make. I'm going to put it right here for you so you can take a look at that. I think that'll be a great follow-up to this video so you can kind of go a little deeper and look at some of the specific things that people are doing that I see every single day that you could avoid to make sure you have maybe a higher probability of success in retirement. Thanks so much for joining me in this video. I really appreciate it. I'll see you in the next one.